Have you ever wondered why so many great republics, from Rome to Florence, collapsed into tyranny or oligarchy? Was it because of outside enemies, bad luck, or something deeper inside their own societies? Niccolò Machiavelli, often called the father of modern political science, gave a chilling answer. In his Discourses on Livy, he argued that republics usually die not from foreign invasion, but from inequality tearing them apart from within. For Machiavelli, liberty and civic strength were possible only when wealth and power were shared widely. But when riches and influence became concentrated in a few hands, corruption followed. The state weakened and ambitious men could seize power. Unlike moral philosophers, Machiavelli wasn't condemning greed as sinful. He cared about survival. In his words, a republic where there is great inequality cannot last long. For him, the problem was not morality, but political stability. To explain this, he turned to history. Rome, Florence, Venice, Sparta. Each one offered lessons. Their rise and fall showed how republics flourished with balance, but collapsed when elites hoarded wealth and the common people were pushed aside. Let us follow Machiavelli's journey through these examples. Each story reveals how inequality sharpened conflicts, destroyed trust, and eventually opened the door to tyranny. His lessons still whisper warnings for us today. Rome was Machiavelli's favorite example. In its early days, Roman citizens lived modestly. Farmers, artisans, and soldiers alike contributed to the strength of the republic. Wealth existed, but it was not yet dangerously concentrated. Over time, conquest brought in treasure, slaves, and land. Small farmers lost their plots as the wealthy bought huge estates. The once balanced citizen body grew divided between an elite ruling class and a restless, dispossessed poor. In the 2nd century BCE, the brothers Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus tried to fix this imbalance. They proposed land reforms to restore farms to ordinary citizens. Yet both were killed by senators who feared losing wealth. The murders of the Gracchus brothers revealed a harsh truth. Elites, when threatened with losing privilege, often choose violence over compromise. Their deaths shattered hopes for reform and deepened divisions within Rome. The chaos led to civil wars, paving the way for Julius Caesar and the rise of emperors. In Machiavelli's words, the disorders between the nobles and the plebs kept Rome free. But when those conflicts turned bloody, when the rich no longer respected the poor, liberty collapsed. Rome traded republic for empire. Closer to home, Machiavelli saw a similar drama in Florence. The city prided itself on being a republic, but its wealth lay in the hands of a few great banking families, especially the Medici. These families gained control not only of commerce but of politics. Through patronage and intimidation, they bent republican institutions to their advantage. Machiavelli watched with despair as Florence's freedom gave way to Medici rule. To him, this was not just a personal defeat. It was proof of a broader pattern. Those who have much desire always more. The Medici's endless accumulation of wealth created an imbalance that republican forms of government could not restrain. Venice offered yet another lesson. For centuries, it seemed a miracle of stability, mixing monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy. Merchants built a vast commercial empire, and civic order appeared unshakable. But Machiavelli noted that Venice slowly narrowed participation in government. Offices once open to many became restricted to patrician families. The republic transformed from broad citizen rule into a tight oligarchy of the wealthy. As long as Venice prospered from trade, this oligarchy endured. Yet when its fortunes declined, the lack of broader civic energy weakened the state. Machiavelli saw that even the most admired republics could wither when economic power grew too concentrated. Sparta, though different, revealed the same danger. Its constitution famously emphasized equality and discipline. Citizens ate in common mess halls and lived with few luxuries, a system designed to prevent dangerous inequalities. For centuries, this worked. Yet wealth eventually seeped into Sparta too. Land accumulated in fewer hands, and the old discipline eroded. Machiavelli observed that even the toughest institutions cannot permanently resist inequality. These historical examples led him to a grim but practical conclusion. Inequality itself cannot be avoided entirely. Conflict between rich and poor will always exist. The question is whether institutions can balance these forces without letting one side dominate. He insisted that Rome, for a time, managed this balance. Its tribunes gave the poor a voice, while the Senate guided policy. But when the balance snapped, when elites ignored the grievances of the many, collapse followed. For Machiavelli, this wasn't abstract theory. He lived through Florence's turmoil, served its republic, was imprisoned when the Medici returned, and wrote in exile. Inequality was not a distant idea, but a daily political reality. In Discourses on Livy, Book 1, Chapter 37, he declared a state is better ordered when it has a strong conflict between the nobles and the plebs. But once wealth lets nobles crush the poor, conflict turns destructive. This way of thinking made Machiavelli radical. Many of his peers thought peace required harmony between classes. Machiavelli said the opposite. Controlled conflict born of inequality was necessary for liberty. The danger came when imbalance silenced one side. That is why he so admired the Roman tribunes, who gave the people an outlet. Without such safeguards, inequality festers into rage or despair, leaving republics vulnerable to ambitious rulers promising order. History proved his point. Rome, Florence, Venice, Sparta, each in their own way showed that republics fall not only through conquest, but when economic power grows to one-sided. Inequality is the silent destroyer of liberty. What insight does this leave for us today? Machiavelli never framed inequality as a moral wrong in the way modern thinkers might. Instead, he saw it in cold political terms. Too much concentration of wealth endangers the very survival of a republic. Some might argue that inequality is not always harmful. It can drive ambition, competition, and innovation. Rome's expansion and Florence's artistic flowering both occurred during periods when wealth was far from equally shared. But Machiavelli would push back. Ambition is useful only when tied to the common good. Once it mutates into unchecked greed, elites bend laws to their will, citizens lose faith, and republics slowly rot from within. His warning was not about fairness, but about survival. When too few own too much, he implies, laws bend, trust breaks, and ordinary citizens abandon the state. For him, the greatest threat to liberty was instability born of imbalance. The lesson is unmistakable. Republics thrive on shared sacrifice and broad participation, but they die when elites capture everything for themselves. As Machiavelli teaches, liberty rests less on noble ideals than on citizens feeling invested in the common good. If you found value in this exploration of Machiavelli's warnings, please hit like, subscribe to the channel, share it with others who enjoy history and philosophy. Your support keeps these ideas alive and helps this community grow.